Okay, so the next speaker is Marcos, is from Twilio. You can see on his jumping. And he's going to talk to us about, if we have the screen. Do you have an empty slide?
That's my
okay.
slide.
Okay, go for it.
Communication.
Okay, communication. I don't expect anything else today. Have a good one.
Stop pushing users away. My name is Placona, and I'm a developer evangelist for a company called Twilio. Just out of interest here, who knows Twilio in this room? Oh wow, quite a few people. That's nice. So, for the people who didn't raise their hands, Twilio is a communications API that helps developers like yourselves add SMS, voice, IP messaging, and video into the applications you're already building. So as you can see, and for the people who already know Twilio, we are very much into communications. We love communications, okay? But to start talking about communications, and very specifically about contextual communications on mobile, I'd like to maybe get someone to tell me what they think this screen here actually means. Very good, very good. So, there are currently 7.2 billion devices in the world. And if you know the numbers right, that's more than the actual number of people in the world. There's 7.1 billion people in the world as of maybe a month ago. So that's a few more now. But the thing about people using mobile devices is they don't really take their time when they use mobile devices. In fact, they use 20% of the time less than when they're using web applications, for example. Which basically means if you have a mobile device, or if you're a user on a mobile device, you're likely to use an application 26% less than you're likely to use a website. Okay? So now, moving into mobile from what was only the browser in the past, you need to make sure you make this count. Okay? You need to make sure that when you're giving an experience to your users, you make sure that you make it count. Because it only takes 5 minutes for someone to download your application and uninstall. This is what happens with most applications right now. So when you look at stats on the Apple Store, on the App Store, or when you look at stats on the Android Store, you will see that applications are usually installed and uninstalled after 5 minutes. And that's usually down to usability. That's usually down to the way you actually present the app to your users. Now, I want you to just have a look at this really quick video here, and tell me if you ever felt like this when you're using a mobile application. So, you feel like you have the grip, like you feel like you're feeling good, you know what's going on, and no, you don't. Has anyone ever felt like this using a mobile application? Yeah, I see a lot of heads nodding to me, which is good. Now, let's look at this is a very simple application I'm going to show you right now, and let's look at what usually happens when you try to contact someone through the application. So, you have a contact us page on an application. As you can see, that's a hybrid application, okay? But this could be any applications. This could be using any languages at all. But what usually happens is, whenever you try to contact someone for support, you see something like this. You try to get to their website, and that's what you see. Like, it's not mobile optimized, it doesn't have any context, it doesn't know who you are, and in this example here, we're looking at a banking application. Okay? So say you're having some trouble with the application, you need some help, and then you get taken to a website that isn't even mobile optimized. And I think all of us will agree that most websites are not currently mobile optimized. Okay? Now, you have another option here, which is the Call Us button. Usually what happens when you click on Call Us is this. You just end up with your dialer. So you just end up seeing your dialer. Okay? Remember, this was a banking application. You were trying to talk to someone because you were having a problem in the banking application you logged into. Okay? And it gets worse, because if you really pay attention to this image on the right here, you will see that I'm roaming in this case. Okay? So if I have an issue with my banking application, if I have an issue, any issue with my account, and I try to contact my bank, I get taken to my dialer, right? And I'm roaming, which basically means it's going to cost me a bag of money. Okay? Usually, I know I'm using banking as an example here, because I just want to make sure you feel like it's an urgent thing, but this could be anything. Okay? And usually when you have a problem with your bank account, it's not going to be a 2-minute call. And it goes without saying that we just talked about a phone. We just talked about a mobile device with a SIM card. What happens when you have a device like this? You don't have a SIM card on this. So basically, if you're on holidays and you're having issues with your account, there's really not much you can do. And as we all know, not all tablets are actually very good at making calls. Okay? But let's just go back to this example here, which is the contacting experience. Right? You try to contact your bank, and then you get taken to your dialer. And let's just look at a little bit of code here, because I feel like this is important. Do I have any Android developers here? Awesome. For iOS developers, oh, there's one there. For iOS developers, you will get something similar to this. But I want to point out that on Android, when you install an app, you get asked for permissions. Okay? And when you get asked for permissions, I want you to really have a look. So if you were doing a dialer application, like if you were taking the user to dialer, the code would look very much like this. But I want you to pay attention to this bit here. Now, you're asking for the call phone permission. Okay? So, as a banking application, I don't really want my phone to be able to call someone, because I'm giving this permission to this app right now. And the one thing about most Android users right now is they're very aware about the permissions they actually give away. I don't know, some of you will remember about a flashlight application that was actually selling users' information. If you developed this app, I'm sorry. But it was this flashlight application that was actually selling users' information because they had access to the geolocation of the users. And this happens quite a lot. So users are very aware of this. Okay? And to be honest, you're asking for such an important permission to do something that is kind of useless, because you're taking them to their dialer. You're taking them away from your application. That's the permission. So that's what permission actually looks like on your Android manifest. Cool. So how about we had the possibility to make a call from within the app? I wouldn't be asking for these permissions. I would only be asking for your microphone permission, and I would only be asking for your internet permission. I wouldn't be asking for a call phone permission, which is like a very elevated permission. If you were to write code that actually enabled you to make a call from within the application, you would be writing something like this. And if you're an Android developer, you see that the first bit of it is only an alert dialog. What I really want to focus on is the second bit. And if you write on the back and you can't see this, this says phone.connect, and there's a telephone number there. So what I'm doing now is I'm using VoIP instead of just taking it to your dialer. And what this means is I'm not taking you away from my application. You can talk to me from within my application, right? What this also gives you is context, because now when you click dial on your device, you can pass as much information as you want. So the person on the other side of the line knows who you are. The person on the other side of the line may know what issues you're having, because all of this is supposed to be logged. Okay, so you should just be able to look at the logs and give someone in a call center, for example, all the information about the issue you're having. Now, this is where I would actually give you a demo, a live coding demo, but I'm very conscious about the time we have here. So it's not going to be a live coding demo. I recorded a video of this yesterday, and I hope it will suffice. If it doesn't suffice, you will also be able to find all this code on my GitHub account. There will be links at the end. At the bottom there, I know it's kind of cut out a little bit. At the bottom there, this is my Twitter account, which you'll be able to find me there, and you'll be able to find all my information through this. But that's the kind of experience I can actually give to people. So, the website, there's nothing, but when you click call, you never leave the application, and then you have this other phone on the right that actually receives a call. And obviously the other phone on the right is my own phone, but this could be a call center. So you could be taking the user to an IVR where someone who speaks their language, for example, would be expecting this call. Someone who knows the exact issue they're having will be able to help. And as you can see, I'm running the application on the left on an emulator. Okay, you wouldn't be able to make a call from the emulator. But you will be able to make a VoIP call from the emulator. So it helps a little bit when you're developing something, because you can actually get access to this. So you can actually make a call from the emulator right now. And it's suffice to say that this doesn't only work on a mobile device, it works on the browser as well. So you could have something on your website that will let people contact other people via the website. And this to me feels like a win already, because I'm not taking the users away from my app. So I feel like that's a win for me. But let's just go a little bit further, because sometimes you don't want to really talk to someone on the phone. Sometimes you just want to have a chat. Sometimes your problem is not really that big, and you just want to have a chat to someone. What most people do right now, what most applications do right now, is they take you to Facebook. Now, there's two things about taking the user to Facebook, okay? The first thing is, you need to make an assumption they actually have Facebook. The second thing is, some Facebook pages say, hey, if you're having an issue, just write it on our wall. Which now means, if you're having an issue, you're going to write it on their wall, and then all of the other users will be able to see that. So you're basically publicizing all the issues you have right now. It's all on your wall. And I'm not saying you should hide issues, but should you tell everyone that there's like this little issue with your application? Probably not. So that to me is a no-no. The other thing about this is you're now competing with Facebook. Okay? If you take the user away from your app and you send the user to Facebook, you're competing with Facebook right now. Does anyone want to compete with Facebook? Probably not. That's the kind of code you would write if you were competing with Facebook, if you were taking the user to Facebook. So you basically opening a Facebook page, so you're basically just opening the Facebook app on the user's device. Okay? That's providing the user actually has a Facebook app installed. If the user doesn't, then this is going to break. Okay? That's going to look horrible. If you want to go a little bit further and make sure that if the user doesn't have Facebook, you can take them to your Facebook page, you can do that, providing this user has a Facebook account. Otherwise, you just basically blocked your user away from any support at all. And the other thing about doing that is you end up with something like this. So I'm going to read it for people on the back. So someone is saying, hey, have you been helped? And this person goes, hi, it's great. I'm looking for these robot parts. As someone from support, what robot parts? Like, what are you talking about? But I expect you to know, because I've been on your application now, so I expect you to know this, but you don't. And that's another one of my demos where you could do something like this. Okay, so you have chatting on your application, and someone says, hi Marcus, my name is Patrick Seward. I noticed you having issues with managing your past transactions. And I just go like, well, that's spooky. How do you know my name is Marcus, and how do you know I'm actually having issues with my app? Well, I know because you told me, because you logged into my app. So you've got all this information. Like, I'm not really trying to like show you rocket science here. You know this. The user is logged into your app, so you've got this information. So why not just go and use it? And also, I just wanted to point out that you could very easily just have a bot to do your first line support, for example. You can very much just have a bot that will ask you your initial questions and then pass you forward to someone else who is a human, hopefully. But let's just get a little bit more serious here. Does anyone here do hardware support? Or has anyone ever needed hardware support in the past? Oh, some people do. So what usually happens with hardware support is you can't really get hardware support via telephone or via messaging because you actually want to ask someone if you should be connecting the blue cable on the red socket. Asking those questions when there are like loads of different kinds of hardware is hard. So what most hardware support companies do is they ask you to send pictures. Pictures are fine, but you end up with stuff like this. Like, they're usually very grainy pictures, they're usually very blurred pictures, so that's not much help, okay? So, how about having an experience that looks more like this? Someone's having an issue, they go on their mobile device, there's someone on the other side waiting to talk to them. That person will be able to point out exactly what to do and which buttons to press, and you can even draw on the screen. Isn't that much better? Like, you're now getting real support from a real person who knows exactly what you have, exactly what kind of hardware you have, and will be able to give the exact support you need. I think this is great. But obviously I've been talking quite a lot about, yeah, let's just add all these functionalities, and you must be thinking, okay, how much more code does that actually involve? Like, I'm giving away a great usability, but how much more code does that actually involve, right? So, in my sample app, as I said before, you will be able to find those sample apps on my GitHub account. You can see all the code, and I basically just went and counted how much more code I actually had to write to do VoIP, to do chatting, and to do video. VoIP was roughly 100 lines of code. That's not too much. Chatting, 350 lines of code, and video, because it's obviously more complicated, it's obviously more complex, 750 lines of code. And as a developer, I don't really think that's too much. Does anyone think like 750 lines is something unreasonable to add video supporting your application? I don't think so. Now, the reason I'm really talking about this, and the reason I'm really passionate about this, is because context really matters. Context will make the difference between someone downloading your app and sticking to it, and someone just uninstalling your application after 5 minutes. I really hope this was useful to you. Like I said, there's my GitHub account will be linked on the next slide, and you will be able to find all my code. I will be here throughout the conference, so feel free to just come and talk to me. My name is Placona, and I'm a developer evangelist for Twilio. The last thing I want to say is we also have a conference which we're organizing, and it's at the end of this month. So I know it's a bit of short notice. It's in San Francisco, and I don't expect anyone to say, hey, I'm going to go just because you said that. However, if you are going to be in San Francisco, if you're going to Google I/O, for example, or something, then we're just a week after Google I/O. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Anyone has questions for Marcus? Twilio is an amazing product, by the way. And I think he just showed me the video. I know business they just got started. It's called DAD. And they do support for if you have phones in your house. Like if something is leaking, you go in the video, just show a specialist what it does. It's an amazing way.
That's so great. Yeah, that's such a nice experience.
Yeah. Any questions?
Oh. So is there any support for low bandwidth situations? Because low bandwidth, when you don't have a good internet connection.
So if you have low bandwidth, I would usually go for the IP communication, so for the chatting communication, because obviously if you're doing video, the bandwidth needs to be fairly high. But right now I feel like you almost have Wi-Fi everywhere, so it's easy to find For voice, if you wanted to do VoIP, you will have a very spotty connection. It will work, but it will be very spotty, so I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay, thanks.
Do you support image sending via chat messages?
So when you say chat messages,
you want to get support over a chat feed or something. You want to chat with the support guy. Could you send pictures of what's happening out there?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can.
Or something?
Yeah, so you can totally do that. So you can pass any kind of video. So even if you wanted to record like a video yourself and pass it through the chat, you can totally do that. So think about our IP messaging product as sort of a WhatsApp. Yeah, so you can totally do that.
Hey, as you talked about privacy a few minutes ago, do you think that a user would accept to give you access to the webcam, to the camera, to the microphone, for a banking app, or to have all these features, or just have access to the phone and use that?
So you can ask for permissions as you need them on your app, which is something I usually recommend people to do. Don't just go and ask for all the permissions in one go. Ask for permissions you need, and you can do that. Because you can actually check on your code, you can check if that permission exists. If it doesn't, then you can ask for that permission. So that's one way to go. The other way to go is when the person installs the application, or on the description you can say, hey, we're going to ask you for these permissions because you might want to chat to us. And I'm sure that if you ask them for like microphone, camera, people will mostly be okay with this. Because the thing about microphone and camera is you need to explicitly say, I'm going to let you use my microphone and camera right now. The thing about making calls, any application can just go make a call.
Calls are a bit more personal.
And they cost money.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a question regarding the pricing of all those stuff. I mean, I suppose that all of the features presented are actually priced. Right? You have to pay for them.
Yeah, they are. So video and calls are charged per minute. Okay. IP messages charged per message. We usually go with we usually sell a bundle of messages to you, like millions of messages for a price. If you go to twilio.com/pricing, you can see all the prices for everything. But yes, there is a cost involved in this, but it's very low.
And for the development part, when you want to test it, to have some services that you can actually use in order to...
Yeah, so you can totally, if you sign up for Twilio, so if you go to twilio.com and sign up, you can get a trial account. Trial account will let you use all these functionalities for free.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
What kind of infrastructure the client will have in order to have all the system functioning?
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
For example, what kind of infrastructure the client need to have in order to have the system fully functional?
That's a good question. So Twilio is a cloud communications API, so everything lives in the cloud. So you don't need to have any infrastructure at all. Everything. So all of our video stuff is peer-to-peer, okay? And all of our IP messaging and voice goes through our service in the cloud. So you don't actually need to have any infrastructure at all, which is cool.
About security, what if my company or the client has its own cloud account, Azure or something like that? He has its IT team, security and everything, and why would I recommend Twilio to him in this case? For example, I give you Pass.
Yeah.
A lot of applications use Pass in the script, and that's gone.
Okay.
Why would we
So Twilio, we actually care quite a bit about security. So everything is SSL encrypted. Everything, all the messages are encrypted as well. So we don't get access to those things. Okay. They obviously go through our service, but we don't get to see those things. So it's mainly I'm sending a message from A to B. You can see it, it goes through Twilio, but Twilio doesn't see that. Twilio just sees an encrypted message. And we've got information about this on the website as well, about all of the security measures we actually take. So we're quite serious about this, but that's a very good question.
And actually Twilio makes a living from this, so they charge prices of 300 pounds. So they actually can support it, right?
Yeah, totally.
Any other questions? Someone wanted to talk to me after the first talk, and I didn't get to talk to them, so you come forward and ask me what everybody was. Thank you. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you very much.